Prison bus stops, chains on your wrists, chains on your ankles. A steel door opens, and the outside world disappears. You step inside with a line of other men. None of you talk. None of you need to. Everyone knows what this place is. Processing happens fast. Fingerprints, photos, a uniform tossed across a counter, a number replacing your name. Then the doors open again, and you enter the housing unit. That's when it hits you. The noise stops. Not completely. Just long enough for people to look. Every table, every cell, every corner of the room, watching the new arrival, watching you. In prison, there's a word for someone like you. A new fish. Someone who doesn't understand the rules yet. And the rules here aren't written anywhere. They're learned the hard way. You start noticing the groups. Men eating together, men working out together, men sitting at the same tables every day. No one crosses those invisible lines. Because those lines belong to gangs. Every gang runs something. Protection, contraband, phones, food, debts, violence. The guards control the doors, but the gangs control everything else. You try to stay quiet, keep your head down, act like you don't notice the stairs, but someone always notices you. Later that day, a man walks over. He doesn't smile. He doesn't threaten you either. He just asks a question. Where are you from? It sounds simple, but in here that question decides everything. Because in prison, being alone is the most dangerous rank of all. Level 2. The prospect. The question from yesterday wasn't casual. It was a test. Because in prison, everyone gets evaluated. The gangs watch the new arrivals carefully. Not to help you. To measure you. How you talk. How you react. Who you sit with. Who you avoid. Every small detail matters. A few days pass. You keep your head down. Follow the routine. Wake up. Count. Meals. Yard time, lockdown. The rhythm of prison starts settling in, but someone keeps watching. Eventually they approach again. Same table, same calm voice. This time the question is different. Do you want protection? They don't say gang. They don't say membership. But everyone knows what it means. Protection always comes with a price. You say yes. Now you're a prospect, not a member, not trusted. Just someone being tested. Your first tasks are simple. Carry a message across the unit. Watch the hallway during a meeting. Pass a small package to another inmate. Nothing big, nothing violent. But everything is observed. They want to see if you panic, if you talk, if you hesitate. Because hesitation is dangerous. Trust inside prison is expensive. You start noticing more things now. Who controls the phones? Who collects debts? Who decides who sits where? The gang isn't just protection, it's a system. And every system needs workers. You're still at the bottom. But now you belong to something, which means something else too. You inherit their enemies. Other gangs start noticing you, watching where you walk, watching where you sit, because in prison alliances draw lines, and once your name is attached to one, there's no going back. If you prove useful, you move forward. If you fail, you disappear from the table, and someone else becomes the next prospect. Level 3. The runner. You passed the first test. That doesn't make you trusted. It just means you're useful. Now the tasks become more frequent, more visible, more risky. You move through the prison constantly, between cells, between blocks, between people who never meet each other directly. You're a runner now, the messenger, the transporter, the invisible link between pieces of the system. Your first real job is simple. Carry a folded note across the housing unit. No questions, no reading it. Just deliver it. Later it becomes something else. A small package hidden inside a food tray, a phone charger passed during yard time, a pill bottle traded during laundry duty. Nothing stays in one place for long, because contraband moves constantly, and runners keep it moving. You start seeing the underground economy, phones worth thousands, cigarettes used like currency, food traded for favors, drugs moving through the same hands every day. Every gang runs part of it, and every runner helps it survive. But running also means exposure. You walk through rival territories, past tables that aren't yours, cross lines you didn't even know existed. Some inmates watch you carefully, trying to guess who you work for. Others already know, because prison rumors move faster than runners. Your gang protects you, but that protection has limits. If something goes wrong, you're the one holding the package. You're the one guards search first. You're the one other gangs question. The system needs runners. But runners are also replaceable, which means every delivery matters, every mistake gets noticed. Because if you prove reliable, you move one step closer to the gang. but if you fail, someone else becomes the next runner before the day ends. Level 4. The soldier. You've run enough errands, delivered enough messages, moved enough packages. The gang stops calling you a prospect. Now they call you something else. A soldier. That word changes everything. You're no longer being tested. You're part of the group, which means the rules change. You eat at their table, walk in their yard section, stand beside them during count. The protection becomes real, but so do the expectations. A soldier doesn't just move things. A soldier enforces the gang's presence. You collect debts, remind people who controls the block, stand behind older members during disputes. Sometimes that's enough, sometimes it isn't. Arguments happen quickly in prison. Food, phones, money, respect. If someone refuses to pay or refuses to listen, the gang handles it, and soldiers are the ones who step forward. You don't start the fight, but you finish it. A quick hit in the yard, a beating in the shower room, something fast, something clear. Because reputation keeps order. Other inmates start recognizing you now. They move out of the way. They lower their voices when you walk past. The guards notice too. They don't say anything, but their searches become more frequent. Because soldiers carry responsibility. You're trusted with information now. Meetings, plans, deliveries, things runners never hear about. But being a soldier also means something else. Your problems are no longer your own. If another gang insults you, they insult your entire group. If you make a mistake, the whole gang answers for it. So you learn quickly, control your temper, follow orders, protect the table, because soldiers hold the gang together. But they're also the ones who bleed first when war begins. Level 5. The enforcer. Being a soldier proves something. You follow orders, you fight when needed, you keep your mouth shut. But the gang watches who handles pressure best, who doesn't hesitate, who finishes what they start. That's how soldiers become enforcers. Now your role changes. You're not just part of the gang. You're the one who protects its reputation. When someone refuses to pay a debt, they send you. When someone disrespects the gang, they send you. When someone talks too much, they send you. You don't argue, you don't negotiate, you deliver the message. Sometimes that message is simple, a warning, a broken phone, a tray knocked off a table, something small that reminds people who runs the block. But sometimes warnings don't work. Some inmates think rules don't apply to them. Some think the guards will protect them. Some think the gang won't react. Those inmates learn quickly, because enforcers don't just talk, they act. A fast attack in the yard, a beating behind the laundry room, a punch during movement between blocks. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, just fast enough to make the point. Word spreads after that. In prison, reputation travels faster than violence. People start recognizing you. They move out of your way. They stop arguing when you show up. Even other gangs pay attention. Because every gang has enforcers. And enforcers understand each other. But the job comes with a cost. Guards watch you more closely. Search your cell more often. Write your name in their reports. Because enforcers make prisons unstable. And unstable prisons bring lockdowns. Still, the gang trusts you now. They rely on you. You're the one who keeps the rules real. But there's something else you start realizing. Every time you enforce those rules, your enemies multiply. And in prison, enemies never forget. Level 6. The shot caller. Being an enforcer proves loyalty. It proves discipline. But more importantly, it proves judgment. Because violence in prison has consequences. Too much, and the guards shut everything down. Too little, and the gang loses control. That's why the next step isn't muscle, it's authority. You become a shot caller, the one who decides when things happen, who gets protected, who pays debts, who gets disciplined, and who gets removed. You don't fight anymore unless you have to. Now you stand behind the fights, watching, deciding. A soldier asks what to do. You give the word. A runner reports a problem. You choose the solution. Everything moves through you. Contraband routes, debt collections, messages between gangs. The system becomes clearer now. Phones enter through certain cells. Drugs move through certain hands. Money travels through the same channels every week. You manage the flow, because order keeps profit alive. But power inside prison is fragile. Every decision is watched. Your own gang studies you. Other gangs test you. Even the guards try to read you. If you make the wrong call, violence spreads across the yard. Lockdowns follow. Cells get searched. Phones disappear. And everyone loses money. So you learn to think before acting. To settle problems quietly. To keep conflicts small. Because a good shot caller doesn't create chaos. He controls it. But the more power you hold, the more dangerous your position becomes. Other soldiers start wondering what it would take to replace you. Level 7. The Lieutenant. Being a shot caller proves something. You can control a block. You can keep money flowing. You can stop problems before they explode. But prison gangs don't survive on one block. They survive on networks. That's where lieutenants come in. You're no longer responsible for one section. Now you manage several. Different housing units, different yards, different crews, each with their own soldiers, their own runners. Shot callers report to you now. Not every day. Only when something serious happens. A fight between crews, a missing shipment, a new gang entering the prison. You don't react immediately. You listen. You gather information. Because moving too fast creates chaos. And chaos costs money. Most of your job happens through quiet conversations. Messages passed through runners. Notes hidden in books. Short phone calls made at the right time. The outside world starts appearing in the picture now. Money coming in. Orders coming from people who aren't even in this prison. Sometimes not even in this state. The gang outside relies on the prison, and the prison relies on them. You become the bridge between both worlds, keeping the system balanced. But power spreads attention. Other lieutenants watch your territory, looking for weak crews, looking for soldiers willing to switch sides. Because in prison gangs, loyalty lasts only as long as the money does. And the higher you climb, the more people start calculating how valuable you really are. Level 8. The Prison Boss. Reaching lieutenant changes everything. You control crews, you manage operations, but someone still sits above you. The prison boss, the man who controls the entire prison yard. Every gang inside has leaders, but only one controls the balance. Now that responsibility becomes yours. You don't run one crew anymore, you run the system. Every contraband route passes through your approval. Every debt dispute reaches your table. Every conflict between gangs gets your attention. Because if violence spreads too far, the prison shuts down. And when the prison shuts down, the money stops. Your day is no longer about... Because if violence spreads too far, the prison shuts down. And when the prison shuts down, the money stops. Your day is no longer about survival. It's about stability. You meet with other gang leaders quietly. Sometimes in the yard, sometimes during movement between units. Short conversations, simple agreements. Territory stays respected, business continues, everyone profits. But power inside prison is never permanent. Other gangs study you, watching your decisions, testing your patience, waiting for mistakes. Even your own lieutenants watch closely. Because a prison boss only keeps power as long as the system works. If profits fall, someone else takes control. If violence spreads, someone replaces you. So you learn something important. A prison boss doesn't rule with fear. He rules with balance. Keeping gangs fighting just enough to stay dangerous, but never enough to destroy the business, because the prison boss isn't the strongest man. He's the one who keeps the entire machine running. Level 9. The Council. Running the prison makes you powerful, but power in prison has limits, because above every prison boss there is something older. The Council. They aren't loud, they don't fight in the yard. Most inmates barely notice them. Older men, quiet cells, long sentences. But these men built the system long before you arrived. Many have spent decades inside, watching gangs rise, watching leaders fall, watching entire crews disappear. The council doesn't control the yard, they control the rules. When two gangs start a war, they decide if it ends. When a prison boss loses control, they decide who replaces him. When a new prison opens, they decide which gang controls it. You don't meet them often. When you do, the meeting is short. They don't ask many questions. They already know most of the answers. Information reaches them through dozens of channels. Runners, old soldiers, guards who talk too much. Even inmates from rival gangs. Because the council doesn't belong to one crew. It belongs to the system itself. Their job isn't profit, it's survival. Keeping the gangs operating for years, sometimes decades. That means stopping wars before they destroy everything. And removing leaders who create too much chaos, including prison bosses, including you. For the first time since entering prison, you realize something uncomfortable. You never truly reach the top. You were just managing the machine. And the men who built that machine are still watching, still waiting, still deciding who stays and who disappears next. Level 10. The Ghost. Years pass inside these walls. New inmates arrive every week, young, nervous, just like you once were. Most of them never understand the system. They see fights, they see gangs. They think prison is chaos. But you know better. Prison isn't chaos. It's a machine, a system built over decades. You've watched it from every level. The new fish, the runner, the soldier, the enforcer, the shot caller, the lieutenant, the boss. You climbed every step, fought every enemy, survived every test, but surviving long enough changes something. You stop chasing power, because you've seen what happens to the people who do. Bosses disappear, enforcers get locked in isolation, shot callers get transferred, and new leaders replace them, over and over and over again. Now you're something different, not a leader, not a soldier, something older, something quieter. The other inmates call you a ghost, because you move through the prison without drawing attention. You don't sit at gang tables anymore. You don't give orders. You don't collect debts. But people still notice you. Because you've seen too much. You understand how the machine works. And machines don't stop, even when the people inside them do. Somewhere in intake, a new inmate steps off the bus. Chains on his wrists. Fear in his eyes. Soon he'll learn the rules. Soon he'll choose a gang. Soon he'll start climbing the same ladder. And the prison machine will keep turning, just like it always has.